Back to our top story now. Federal officers arresting two county judges, one current and one former. One of them, a sitting Milwaukee County Circuit Judge, Hannah Dugan, who FBI Director Kash Patel says is being charged with obstruction for allegedly helping an undocumented immigrant evade arrest last week. The second arrest, a former New Mexico judge, along with his wife, now facing charges related to harboring a member of the Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua. Joining me now, the nation's top prosecutor, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. It's been quite a busy day for you.
Very busy day. Very busy week.
And I'm actually getting statements in as our interview is beginning. I'll get to that for a second because I'm going to read it cold with you. But let's start, Pam, with Judge number one, Hannah Dugan in Milwaukee. You arrested a sitting judge.
We did.
Why did you feel that was necessary?
It was appalling to all of us what happened. I used to be a domestic violence prosecutor, and this case involved someone who was deported under President Obama, came back into our country, we don't know when, illegally, and he was living at a residence, and he beat up a man so badly he had to go to the hospital, his roommate. He punched him with a closed fist in the face 30 times. The victim fell to the ground, and he choked him. Then the girlfriend came in, tried to break it up. He punched a woman in the face with a closed fist so hard she fell to the ground. He hit her in the arm. Both of them had to go to the hospital. The fight's broken up. They're taken to the hospital, and he's threatening to do further harm to them later. So it's hard enough to get any victim of domestic violence to cooperate. We had two victims sitting in a courtroom that day.
So what did this judge do that led to ICE coming in to make this arrest?
So she's a sitting judge on a domestic violence case. He's the defendant, Ruiz, two victims and a prosecutor, a state prosecutor in the courtroom. It is routinely done when people are picked up on any kind of warrants that it's done outside a courtroom. It's been done in that courthouse. It's been done in a courthouse where I prosecuted 20 years ago. The reason? Because executing a warrant is one of the most dangerous things law enforcement officers can do. You never know what you're going to encounter behind that door, what kind of weapons, with any defendant. So the safest place to do it is if you know they're going to be in a courthouse because they've gone through security. You know a defendant isn't armed. It's a sterile daytime situation. It's routinely done in courthouses, any kind of warrants. So the ICE team was there, DEA, FBI, ICE team. They're outside the courthouse, courtroom. They're in the courthouse. The judge finds out that they're there to arrest him. And the way he got on the radar, of course, is he got arrested. He beat up these people. So she knew they were there. They were outside. She comes outside the courtroom and is visibly angry, yelling, raising her voice to them. She directs them to go see the chief judge. So while they do that, she goes back in the courtroom, gets back on the bench while a prosecutor is sitting there with two victims of domestic violence, and tells the defense attorney and the defendant, Ruiz, to come in the back with her. She takes them in the back in a private area, this is appalling, through her chambers, lets them back out and leave. One of the DEA agents, I believe, sees them exiting and doesn't know what's going on. So she continues with her docket, finishes her docket. Two victims sit in court all morning long, waiting. At the end, the prosecutor said, "What happened? Why didn't the case get called?" She removed it from the docket without telling anyone, had them go out a door to leave. Then ICE, meaning the ICE team, DEA, FBI, have to chase him down, which is what is so dangerous, outside the courthouse, by an intersection. Pedestrians could have been killed. He could have been hurt. They could have been hurt. They catch him, take him into custody. Those are the facts of the case.
All right. As you lay out the facts of the case, as you can imagine, people are now responding. Bear with me here. We just got this full statement from the lawyer representing Judge Hannah Dugan saying that she has committed herself to the rule of law and the principles of due process for her entire career as a lawyer and a judge. She has retained former United States Attorney Stephen Biskupik to represent her. Judge Dugan will defend herself vigorously and looks forward to being exonerated. Okay, quick reaction to that, but what I really want to get to is also the governor is speaking out, as well as a Democratic Congresswoman, Gwen Moore, because you can imagine the other side of politics responding to this. But first, your response to the attorney representing Dugan.
Well, everyone is entitled to their day in court. Judges, criminal defendants, victims, and those victims were entitled to their day in court, and they didn't get it because she let a criminal defendant walk out a door. She helped them. She obstructed justice. And that's what she's charged with.
Okay, this statement now coming from Democratic Congresswoman Gwen Moore, who represents Milwaukee. As you know, she said of Judge Dugan's arrest that the administration's willingness to weaponize federal law enforcement is shocking and that she is alarmed at the increasingly lawless actions of the Trump administration.
Well, we'll let this play out in court, and I hope she reaches out to the victims of domestic violence who were in that courtroom that day, and the state prosecutor who sat there all day long in Milwaukee or all morning waiting on this case to be heard.
What do you say to critics who warn that you're attempting to intimidate the courts?
You know what we're doing? We're attempting to protect victims. We're attempting to protect citizens, make America safe again. That's what we're doing. And if you commit a crime in this country, you're going to be held accountable. Doesn't matter. We're going to prosecute you. No one is above the law, not even a judge. We've seen that in Milwaukee, and we've seen it in New Mexico.
Got it. Judge number 2, Joel Cano, former...
New Mexico.
Yes, exactly, and his wife. You arrested them because you say they were harboring a Tren de Aragua gang member. What evidence do you have?
So here's what happened here. ICE had a tip. He came into our country. I have the dates here. December 2023 through Eagle Pass, Texas. They got a tip that multiple illegal TDA members were living at this residence. They learn it's a judge's residence. You can't make this up. They really, they probably couldn't believe it. So he's picked up on a tip from someone at the residence, and then another judge, a judge named Damian Martinez, says, well, I know Judge Cano. He has a really good BS meter, so I don't think he would let just anyone live with him. So the judge releases this guy. And I'm going to tell you the facts of the case in a minute, why ICE wanted to arrest him. So that's not acceptable, of course. So he's back out. So what they found out, then he was arrested and charged. He had 4 phones. He had 2 Facebook accounts. He had been to a shooting range. This is an illegal TDA member, and I'll tell you why we know he's a TDA member in a minute. A shooting range with an AR-15 with a suppressor because he had filmed himself there with multiple other known gang members. They had tattoos in Spanish saying true death. He had a necklace on about death. He had all the TDA insignia. You can go online and look at all of that. On his phone, he also had, one of the tattoos was an AK-47, and he talked about it, posting on it, saying it was the TDA train, that tattoo. He joked about a $5,000 reward that was out there to arrest TDA members. And not only that, on his phone, I've seen the pictures, he had 2 horrific pictures of decapitated victims. 2 victims murdered, decapitated, their hands cut off, their heads cut off. That's what TDA members do.
Is he facing other charges?
He will be. He has. This just happened. So what happened was, so he gets arrested, and then they learn, based on the evidence, based on the phones, based on the Facebook accounts, the wife, Nancy Cano, law enforcement believes she facilitated destroying evidence. They have recordings of her talking about he had to get rid of the phones. He needed to get rid of them because they could incriminate him.
So you're saying a former judge of New Mexico knew that he had Venezuelan gang members living and working for him. That's what you're saying?
Well, what we know, that was the judge's wife. So the judge, Joel Cano, what happened with him is post-Miranda, he admitted that he took one of the defendant's phones and took a hammer himself, destroyed the phone with a hammer, then took the parts of the phone, carried it away to a city dumpster to dispose of it so an illegal alien would not be caught.
Why would this seems very hard to believe.
I agree.
That a former judge would be harboring people like this.
I agree. And to clarify,
did he say anything when he was arrested? Did his wife Nancy say anything when they were arrested? What did they say?
Well, post Miranda, he said that about destroying the phone. I'm not sure about her statements post Miranda, but also he's a former judge because he resigned after all this happened. He was a sitting judge while all of this was going on.
Are you concerned that this looks like you're just going after judges? I mean, Trump is very blunt about his beef with judges. You know, it's no secret.
Yeah. Well, these are, I think I laid the facts out pretty clear about these two judges, what we're doing. This last guy we just talked about again, I have these pictures right here. Victims that were mutilated, it appears by a machete, their hands cut off, their heads cut off, two separate victims on his phone, and he's sharing this information with other known TDA members. Those are the people that have to be arrested and taken out of our country. It doesn't matter who you are. No one can harbor them, not even a judge. We do believe in the rule of law, and not even a judge is above the law.
What could be next? You're going after judges? Are we talking about mayors, governors? How far could this go?
Well, I would pray that a governor and a mayor, I would pray that no one else is having illegal gang members living in their house who have assault rifles. Oh, let me go back to the judge. He had given this gang member, I guess his daughter had a lot of firearms. He's the one that gave them, he and his wife, these firearms, assault rifles, AR-15s, AK-47s, to go to a shooting range. One of them had a suppressor to shoot these guns. So anyone who does that is going to be charged.
Okay, so obviously we're going to follow these cases, but Pam, are you concerned this is going to spook fugitives? I mean, that they're not going to show up to court now and face charges? That they're going to know you're coming after them, that they're going to know that ICE is going to be chasing them down. You know they're going to show up at court, but now they're not going to because they're seeing what's happening. Does that concern you that you will have even a harder time tracking down those that are guilty of a crime?
You know what concerns me about not showing up for court are victims of domestic violence, who those two victims were brave enough to come forward after going to the hospital and sit in a courtroom and face the person who was charged with doing this to them, and he was let out a back door. That has a chilling effect on all victims around the country, that a judge who is supposed to be impartial, unbiased, protected a criminal, you can't make this up, protected a criminal defendant in a court of law during the day. That's what actually terrifies me for victims of crime.
Look, it terrifies all of us as journalists when we interview victims of crimes, but even more so, you want to see the bad guys put away. So if the bad guy is realizing, okay, there's no way I'm showing up in court because ICE is coming after me, Trump has made it clear, the Attorney General has no mercy for me, I'm fleeing, I'm out of here. Isn't that going to make your job more difficult, especially Homan's, Borders are Tom Homan and his job?
It's very rare that illegal alien TDA members and MS-13 members show up for court. This guy was an illegal alien from Mexico, by the way. He was from Mexico.
Let me get back to the former judge from New Mexico. And in the court documents we're reading that this one, you say, member of Tren de Aragua was living there and working for him. You send a very strong message going after a judge, but does this mean that anyone who is found to be employing an illegal or undocumented immigrant, you're coming after him no matter what?
This isn't an undocumented immigrant. This is an illegal alien who is a gang member. I think Tom Homan has made it crystal clear. Top priority to get these murderers, criminals. TDA, one of their top business models, human trafficking, drugs. Tomorrow's drug take-back day. And we're sitting here, worried about a TDA member who has pictures of decapitated people on his phone. Violent. These people are so violent. Human trafficking is risen as one of the worst crimes in our country. That's what we're worried about, getting these people out of our country, getting them in prison where they belong. You're not going to abuse a woman. You're not going to abuse a child. You're not going to murder someone, and we're going to let you walk the streets. It doesn't matter. I would hope a mayor, I would hope a governor would never harbor anyone. Frankly, it's not safe for their families, nor send someone who they knew was here illegally out to shoot an AK-47 or an AR-15 with a suppressor on it. frightens me, scares me for our country.
Attorney General Pam Bondi, thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming into studio.
Thank you.